Good morning, students, and it certainly is morning. It is 5:02. I'm finding it easier to do these little video lectures early in the morning because there's fewer distractions over the course of the day. I get caught up doing stuff, and look at this. There's my trusty mug right there, my trusty coffee mug. All right, this is magazines part two, current trends and some more statistics about the magazine industry. Let's do this. I want to read a quote. This is actually from the textbook, page 164, about magazines creating pseudo environments. There's a quote here from the media critic Walter Lippmann, who said, and he wrote this many decades ago, pseudo environments are an interpretation of reality that is often very different than reality itself. The pseudo environments depicted in today's magazines vary widely. And here we have three magazines with high circulation: AARP, Sports Illustrated, and Better Homes and Gardens, and sort of the vision of the world that is created or encouraged by these different magazines is distinct. Each one has a different kind of feel, and magazines are known for constructing their own versions of reality. When I think about pseudo environments and sort of an altered version of reality, I think about all the Photoshop that happens, especially with the female form. Here we have, and I'm going to put the link to this website in the lecture notes. But here we have an image of Katy Perry that's been Photoshopped. This doesn't look as extreme as some of the other ones that I've seen. I mean, I think Katy Perry looks fine right here, but they've, done a little bit of work on her stomach to sort of quote unquote improve the image. And let's scroll down here. Here we have, I think that's Britney Spears, right? Look, she looks like an avatar. Doesn't look like a human being right there. But here's a little video. Here we have a little video showing kind of all the retouching done on this particular model. Yeah, here we go. This is what I want to look at. To change everything about the woman, even the size of her legs, the size of her neck, everything. I think manipulating images like this can have negative effects on body image if it portrays this altered version of reality as the norm. But yeah, this kind of photo manipulation is surprisingly common in magazines. Okay, I found these stats just yesterday, actually. This is from the Alliance for Audited Media. We mentioned them when we talked about newspapers. I'm not 100% positive about the different methods that are used here, but what we're showing here are not circulation, but just audience members. Number of audience members is higher than magazine subscriptions that are in circulation. When you combine print and digital, and yes, the Alliance for Audited Media does include digital as well. The numbers here in the middle add a couple extra zeros, so we're talking millions here. AARP has over 36 million people looking at the magazine, either online or in print. This is from June of this year, and then we have People Magazine, Better Homes and Gardens, etc. You can see the different magazines there. And then we have Web. When you look specifically at Web, I thought this was interesting that WebMD magazine and All Recipes, when you look specifically at Web, those do very well, as does People magazine. And Mobile Web, and again, I don't understand these metrics. These numbers seem pretty high to me, but look, we've got Cosmo here. That's the magazine with the quizzes, right? And video, I didn't realize that People magazine had so much video, but when you look at unique viewers, and again, unique is a metric that means the number is unduplicated. Okay, when we talk about unique viewers or unique users, it is an unduplicated number. And People magazine does very well with video. And then when you combine everything all together, People magazine has a really high reach. So when we talk about magazines, just to repeat, as we talked about with newspapers, we are not talking specifically or only about a print form of media. Magazines as a form of media include digital as well. Okay, the purpose of me going through the slides that I just went through is to illustrate that magazines include online audiences as well. Okay, I'm going to go through a couple of famous magazines just so you are familiar with them. And I chose the cover of each magazine to illustrate that magazine. And as the textbook indicates, magazine covers remain very, very popular. They are almost like a distinct form of art. And magazines make a lot of money through subscriptions, but they also make a lot of money through single copy sales. I think the textbook says 1/3 of sales come from single copy sales. So advertisers are very interested in this, and a really, really good cover stands alone and can attract, maybe just single issue buyers. National Geographic has been around well over 100 years. It's now published in many, many different languages, known for photography, known for covering different parts of the world, a lot of sort of nature photography or ethnographic photography. This is a particularly famous cover. It actually is a young woman from Afghanistan back in the 80s. This was when the Soviets were fighting Afghanistan. Very, very famous cover. Reader's Digest is actually, by some accounts, the largest circulation in the world. If AARP, at least according to the textbook, if AARP is the top in the States, Reader's Digest is the top in the world. It does have a much older, rather conservative audience, and a lot of the content is reprinted, taken from other outlets, and with permission, of course, but it does sort of lower the cost. They don't have to hire a lot of original writers. And here we have, yes, the American Association of Retired Persons. That is what AARP stands for. And anyone who is 50 or older is eligible to join this organization. A lot of information about health and finances and investing and the kind of things that you would expect to appeal to a much older audience. AARP, historically, and it's been this way for many, many years, has one of the largest circulations of any magazine in the United States for a long, long time. And they've inspired some imitators who are sort of much more risque and, dare I say, vulgar in their content. But Playboy really rejects a lot of the explicit ads. For a while, Playboy even stopped posting nudity altogether, and then they went back and added nudity back to the magazine. But they really do have some of the best writers in the business and some really, really quality articles. There have been a number of times where an interview or an article in Playboy magazine made national news, including an interview many years ago with President Jimmy Carter. Now we have Sports Illustrated. This is, again, a brand. They have many, many products and spin-offs and things related to the original publication, which has been around since the 1950s. The swimsuit issue is typically a top-selling issue every year. This year, or at least when I'm recording this in August of 2021, this is the most recent Sports Illustrated swimsuit issue. And for the last couple of years, they've been attracting attention for having different types of models on the cover. They had a plus size woman a few years ago, and this year they have a transgender woman of color, the first transgender woman of color to ever appear in the magazine. And on the one hand, I mean, I know these video lectures are not really a forum for robust discussion. But I just want to say, on the one hand, people saw this as positive and empowering and a positive move forward. But then there is also the counter argument that, no, if you really want to empower women, including transgender women, if you really want to empower them, maybe the way to do it is not to objectify them in this rather old-fashioned way. But I just want you to know that Sports Illustrated continues to be a popular magazine. TV Guide, as the title implies, tells you what's on television and what to watch. When I was younger, they actually had lists and grids that would tell you what's on what channel at what time. There's just too much television to do that now. And look, if you look at the bottom left down here at the bottom, if they even include Netflix, Hulu and Amazon Prime. There's just too much television to offer an entire grid. But they do, basically tell you what's on TV. And they have a lot of local editions because television varies locally. That's kind of surprising to me that or maybe not surprising, I guess, that one of the most popular print magazines is actually about another form of media. Time magazine attracts attention. Um, every year they come out with a person of the year. I think it used to be man of the year, and then they changed that to person of the year. Sometimes the person of the year is a group of individuals, like individuals related to the Me Too movement. That was the choice one year. In 2006, the person of the year was you. This was related to the growth of Web 2.0. Many people, myself included, thought that was somewhat of a lame choice. And then most recently, it was Biden and Kamala Harris. Joe Biden and Kamala Harris were named the person of the year. In 2016, the year Trump won presidency, he was person of the year. So the choice of the person of the year usually attracts some attention and usually makes news whenever Time magazine comes out with the announcement. They're also known for these red X covers. They've done these a couple of times when someone was killed, like Hitler or Saddam Hussein. They'll just put a photo of that person with a red X over their face, known for the red X covers. Now, this magazine started, Rolling Stone, started originally as just a music magazine, kind of a counterculture music magazine in the late 1960s with the growth of the counterculture movement. Then it expanded after a few decades to include all forms of music and popular culture and, and politics as well. Here we have a cover from decades ago, REM, a band from Athens, Georgia, which is where I went to college. Now, I talked about magazine covers in the last lecture, and here's a magazine cover from Rolling Stone that attracted some attention, not necessarily positive attention. This was one of the, if you remember the Boston Marathon bombing, hopefully that's not entirely a historical memory for you. This was one of the individuals responsible for the Boston Marathon bombing. And critics alleged that the cover kind of glorifies him, makes him looks like kind of a dreamy, maybe kind of a sexy young man, when he in fact, helped kill people and conducted an act of terrorism. And some individuals didn't care for that, and other people thought it was just an interesting cover, a way to humanize someone who is definitely a criminal. I'll leave it up to you to decide which is which. Okay, with the time I have left, I just want to rattle through a couple of slides. This is from the Association of Magazine Media. The Association of Magazine Media. And every form of media, if you go to the trade group, will tell you that they are the best form of media, the best way to reach audiences, and the most viable form of media. The reason that different media industries do this is because they are in competition with one another for advertising dollars. Okay. They are in competition with one another for advertising dollars. So they come out with statistics that tell you how great their form of media is. I'm not saying they are lying. I'm just saying that they are presenting the statistics in a way that is most desirable and attractive in their manner. Okay, that's what they're doing. Here we have information that's showing that number of individuals over the age of 18. The audience for magazines is growing. When you include print and digital, it is growing. Okay. In 2019, we have over 228 million people reading magazines. And yes, even though print circulation is down, digital circulation is up. So yes, I do believe that the total audience for magazines is growing over time. Here we have some information showing that print grows over time. So now we're talking specifically print, just over print. And here at the bottom, this x-axis has weeks. And over time, a weekly and or monthly magazine is going to grow. And look at this. For a weekly, after 10 weeks, one issue of a magazine could reach almost 100 people. I'm assuming this is, lying around on someone's coffee table or at a doctor's office or at a car repair place or something like that, where people have to spend time. But this is kind of an interesting idea that over time, one copy of a magazine is going to grow in readership. We also have some neuroscientific evidence now showing you how paper is a better way to consume media. That when people read things on paper, they have a higher comprehension. They're more focused, drives sensory involvement, which contributes to reader impact, and it stimulates emotions and responses. This information is designed to appeal to advertisers, communicating to advertisers that our form of media is great, and that specifically, if you advertise in print, you're going to have a better chance of reaching your potential consumer. Now, here we have, now again, this is important. This is according to the magazine industry. Okay, according to the magazine industry, the top 25 magazines reach more adults than the top 25 primetime TV shows. Okay, so think about that. We might typically think that television is a more popular form of media, but the magazine industry is claiming that the top 25 print magazines reach more than the top 25 primetime TV shows. And then we have different demographics, people 18 to 34, 18 to 49, men and women. Women, that blue line is magazines. Women tend to read more magazines, not surprising. And then we have household income, okay? So advertisers are particularly interested with people who have more money, more disposable income. So yeah, when you look at people with more disposable income, they are consuming more magazines. And during COVID, magazine readership is up. Okay, again, this is what the magazine industry is claiming during COVID. It's up, especially with people 18 to 24 and then 25 to 34, which I'm assuming is the bulk of students in the audience. And they are claiming that your generation is reading more magazines because of COVID. All right, that's it. The end.